Hey everybody, how are you doing? Welcome to another episode of Wisdom Moments on K24 with me, C.J Atemo, the Sage. We have been talking this week about making difficult decisions, and I know each one of us has faced those, not once, not twice. In any case, we make decisions nearly every day. Some are easier to make, but some are really difficult decisions to make. And that's why we always will seek, other people's opinions. We will want to get conversations around us just so that we can make great decisions. As I said, decisions lead us to destination. So every wrong decision you make leads you to the wrong destination. And sometimes when you make a wrong decision and you take a turn to the wrong direction, you will take longer trying to get back than it would have taken you to get to the right place that you needed. It's more like missing the turn on certain roads, and you just can't get back on course. You have to drive so far before you get back on the road that will lead you to the place where you were before. So sometimes you take 30 minutes. You just lost the road by about 5 minutes, and it takes you like 30 minutes to get back to where you lost it. It's worse if the road that you were using before had traffic, because you can take 2 hours just to get back to the spot where you lost your way. This is where it is important for us to have clarity. And I talked about consultation as the first thing, and then I talked about clarity. It's important to have clarity so that when you make decisions, you're making them from a place of sobriety, you're making them from a place of perspective, you have weighed the pros and the cons, you have looked at a lot of other things, and so you can make that decision. And when you go home to sleep, you know that was the best based on the prevailing circumstances. I didn't want to use the word under. So based on the prevailing circumstances, you know that was the best decision that you could make. Which brings me to my point number 3, that if you're really going to make difficult decisions, then ladies and gentlemen, you need courage. You need courage. Decisions themselves in their nature require a sense of courage. Fearful people, timid people do not make decisions. They can't. Some people who are indecisive are so because they are afraid. Because with every decision, there is going to be a certain sense of implication. Like if you choose, for example, and I don't know why I like using that, but if you choose, for example, that you've got to let go some of your workers, somebody will feel bad. If you choose that you're going to marry somebody, maybe you had 3 people around you and all were hopeful. This is true whether you're a man or a woman. There are people around you who had expectations. When you make a choice and say, this is the person I will be with, somebody's going to get hurt. That's why people who are afraid to hurt people don't make decisions. They totally don't make decisions. They hope that things will just fall in place with time. So sometimes what they do, they go quiet. They do not know how to bring up difficult discussions as well, difficult conversations as well. So they just let things fall in place. Let the other person just read the signs and see the hints and know that I am not interested in doing business with them. Instead of them just saying, look, I don't think that at this time I can invest that money, or I want to be in partnership with you. They will not say that. So they leave people guessing and hoping that the people will guess enough to pull away. They're lacking in courage. They're lacking in courage. They're timid. They're afraid either to lose a friendship or to lose a face or to say something and it becomes controversial. They're afraid of the implications of the things that they need to make decisions about. You cannot make decisions if you are not courageous. You cannot make decisions if you're not courageous, because every decision will affect somebody negatively, even though it will probably affect somebody else positively. In decision making, we mostly will then think about how does it affect me as well. There's the element of the greater good where we think about I did this for the purpose of the greater good. But you see again, even while you are making decisions based on the greater good, you cannot completely ignore your place in that greater good. So there's going to be a sense of what favors you as well, as much as you want to do good to everybody else. And sometimes what favors you will hurt somebody else. If you allow people into your life and they get quite deep in the spaces, then you allow them to make the decisions for you, especially if you have a certain sense of influence or affluence. You will realize that people come into your space with their own ideas of how you should live your life to their benefit. So if you do not draw the boundaries, make certain decisions, if you do not decide that I will only spend this amount of money on you, if you do not decide that I cannot contribute any further, if you do not decide that we are moving into a smaller space, if you do not decide that this company will not expand beyond this, we're not spending more on this, we cannot give this pay rise, if you do not make those kind of decisions, you will find that you are losing life because everything else will be leaching out of your very breath. Making difficult decisions requires courage, not arrogance, courage. The ability to face the consequences of the choices that you make. Knowing very well, having had clarity over what you want to do, where you want to go, what you would want to be done, having that sense of clarity, making peace with that particular decision, and coming back and making the decision, knowing very well it may cost you a name, it may cost you time, it may cost you space, but that is what you believe is the best thing to do. Leadership is about courage. Decision making is about courage. Everybody that has ever become anything in life has had to be courageous in facing their goals, in facing opposition, facing criticism, which is one thing that really happens when people begin to make the difficult decisions. There's a lot of criticism that you should expect. Those who fear scrutiny and criticism will always want to sit on the fence. Well, I do not want to talk about the fence sitters, but you know how annoying they can be when there are situations that require a sense of clarity of direction, and the people will be sitting over there and they don't give direction, yet they're in a position of influence where they can give direction. You know how annoying that would be. It's very annoying in the political field. It's very annoying if you go to a judge who cannot make ruling. It's very annoying if you go to an arbitrator who cannot decide what needs to be done. It's very annoying if you have a leader who cannot tell you which direction you need to go. It's very annoying if you get into a matatu and the driver can't just move because he doesn't know which way he needs to go. It's very annoying. It is also very annoying to be surrounded by people who have to make decisions, but they do not have the courage to make it. Either they will not make the decisions, or they will use other people to make those difficult decisions for them. That means that they will always want to save their face and look good as they sacrifice other people for decisions that belong to the people who are at the top. Every time you are confronted with a difficult decision, you have an opportunity to prove your character through courage. Courage, ladies and gentlemen, is proof of character. It means you have conviction. It means that you are clear about the decision that you're making. You can defend it any day. You can go to sleep knowing that that was the best decision that could have been made at that particular point. And if given another opportunity, any other time, you would still go back and do the same thing. Based on the information that you have gathered, based on the intelligence that you have, based on the statistics and the data that you have, you would still do the same thing. Knowing that you're doing the right thing is the easiest way to receive courage in doing that thing. This is C.J Atemo, and this has been Wisdom Moments on K24.